3 weeks of silence, a nation suffocating between two sharp walls. Fellow citizens, members of the media, stakeholders and partners. 3 weeks ago, on the 10th of March 2025, the National Vendors Union of Zimbabwe, NAVUZ, on behalf of over 6 million informal workers across this nation, submitted an urgent and heartfelt letter to the Honorable Minister of Finance and Economic Development, Professor NAVUZ. That letter was not a formality. It was not symbolic. It was a declaration of pain and a desperate call for relief. It carried the collective voice of millions of informal traders, street vendors, cross-border hustlers, micro-entrepreneurs, and other citizens who may not be included in the informal sector, but still being haunted by what we are talking about today. Us as informal sector, as Zimbabweans, we form the backbone of this country. And yet, 3 weeks after we've requested our voice to be heard by Minister NAVUZ, nothing was said and nothing was done. We condemn this silence because silence in this context is not neutral. It is not merely political delay. It is abandonment. It is not just bureaucratic. It is a desperate disregard for the lives of the poor. Our country is trapped in a very serious crisis of a finance minister who does not understand the pain of those who are on the floor. Today we say this loud and clear. Informal workers in Zimbabwe are trapped between two sharp and deadly horns. The 2% IMTT levy, and number 2, daily ZRP and municipal police corruption. On the one side, the 2% intermediated money transfer tax is bleeding every transaction dry from the informal sector. Zvazviri kureva ukaisa mari yako mweko cash, painogobuda ichienda mune mweko cash iri kubatwa 2%. Yabva mweko cash ichienda mune mweko cash iri kubatwa 2%. Ikabva mu bank account ichienda another bank account iri kubatwa 2%. Toenda kumavenda konai mavenda nemusukwendesa mari kubanki vari kutiza ma 2% iwayo. It takes from vendors whether they profit or not. It punishes women who buy tomatoes in bulk at dawn. It taxes micro businesses trying to restock, regroup and reinvest. This tax is not targeted. It is a blanket punishment for being poor and ambitious. On the other side, we face the growing menace of corruption. Thank you very much to those Zimbabweans who are now hands-on in fighting corruption. Corruption is bleeding our nation. It is damaging our lives. It's ruining our lives. And to us as informal sector and vendors, it is being instigated by rogue elements within the Zimbabwe Republic Police and Municipal Police. At night, under the veil of darkness, some ZRP officers prey on unprotected vendors. Bribes are demanded, threats are issued, goods are confiscated, and dignity is destroyed. Let the nation understand this. We are taxed by the state during the day and extorted by rogue ZRP officers by night. This is not just a crisis of policy, it is a crisis of conscience. An urgent solution in this regard is needed, whose solution we hold dear and whose solution we have pathway. We are being punished as informal workers for surviving. How long shall we be punished for being resilient? How long shall a woman selling vegetables in Harare be the government's cash flow on the 2% and the target of harassment from ZRP? The same government that refuses to provide social protection turns around and taxes the smallest transaction with an almost razor-thin margin. They don't care what happens behind what you have been doing during the day. The same law enforcement that should protect, instead it decides to hunt. Ko mapurisa ZRP ndimi munofanira kutichengetedza. Ko kana makuuya muchivhima makutitorera tushoma itwo tufatinge taita, ko chipurisa chacho chiri papi? This is not a national development model. This is economic cruelty. And in other words, this is a very serious economic violence. We face violence in many forms, one of which is economic, whose perpetrators have become some rogue elements of ZRP. Let me come back to the 2%. Financial exclusion in disguise. Vanonyepera kutaura kuti tikudai inonzi financial inclusion. Munhu wese anofana kuti awane mukana okuva part of the financial system yenyika. That is not true. We were told that the 2% levy would contribute in formalizing our economy. But what is formalization when it discourages informal sector from banking? What is financial inclusion when people are running back to cash because of unbearable taxes and corrupt policies? This 2% that is haunting and ruining little profits from informal sector, it is a corrupt tax. I repeat, that tax is corrupt. Not targeted at all. It does not even allow anyone to fall under a particular financial threshold to be taxed. You make a profit of 50 cents, you get taxed. You make a profit of $1, you get taxed. It's not targeted. It is cruel. It is corrupt. A finance system that is formal would look at tax bands. Those earning a particular level of income should not be taxed. This tax does not build Zimbabwe. It shrinks our country. It truly shrinks our country. Once this tax is removed, you will see hundreds of thousands of informal sector opening bank accounts, rushing to the bank because their money will be safe. It does not lift people out of poverty. The 2% does lock people in poverty. In our letter that was ignored by Professor Muturi, we cited global warnings. He still ignored it. We cited Kenya, Tanzania, and Ghana in our letter. Countries that realized too late the damage such taxes inflict on their people. So here we are talking of Kenya, not a country out of Africa, it's in Africa. Kenya, Tanzania, and Ghana. They reversed their policies after a little social resistance from their people and say, look, this is not working. Why must Zimbabwe be the last to learn and the first to make its people suffer? Maleaders yedu anonakidzwa ere nekuona vanhu vachitambura. Professor Muturi Nube, a clear message to you. 3 weeks of silence, you're ignoring us, but we will not be silenced. This is a start of a campaign to push Professor Muturi Nube and his cabal or his lieutenants to ensure that the 2% is scrapped for at least kumavenda. Kana mukase nyika yese yemwe ichitorwa pa 2% zviri kwamuri. But here we are talking about informal sector. But I'm sure even other citizens who are not part of the informal sector still bleed and suffer from this 2%. We will not disappear, and we are not going to retreat. 3 weeks of silence from your office, Mr. Muturi, or Professor Muturi, sorry, has only made our voice louder. And if the government does not hear us in Parliament, in the corridors of power, it will hear us in the streets, in the markets, in the hearts of citizens who know this injustice must end. Our demands are clear and urgent. Number 1, an immediate public response from the Ministry of Finance regarding our letter. Number 2, the urgent scrapping of the 2% IMTT informal sector transactions. Number 3, we request a formal meeting between NAVUZ and your office. Number 4, a public inquiry into corrupt activities by rogue ZRP police officers extorting vendors at night. And I'm sure the new police Commissioner General would be happy to lead this inquiry if he believes that corruption is wrong, if he believes that making and allowing Zimbabwe to suffer is wrong. Build with us, not against us. The informal sector is not a problem to fix. The government of Zimbabwe. The informal sector is not a problem to fix. This is a group of individuals, a group of people to help and empower We are not Zimbabwe's economic threat. We are its hope. We are the hope of Zimbabwe, not a threat to our country. To the government of Zimbabwe, if you continue to tax the poor and protect corruption, you are no longer governing. Daududzira nation ipapa. Hurumende yeZimbabwe mukaramba makatsungirira kuda kutora ma 2% kuvarombo nekurega kurwisa umbimbindoga hwecorruption, amusi kutungamira kana kutonga. In English, you will be exploiting. Tingati kupamba kashona. Government of Zimbabwe, scrape the 2%. Simple. Decide. Ghana vakazvitadza, Kenya vakazvitadza, Tanzania vakazvitadza. Vakambochitraya zvatiri kuita zvema 2% izvi, vakaona kuti hazvisi kushanda. Ko imi hurumende yedu yenyika hamusi kudzidzawo nei? Vamutamba Commissioner General wePolice hero basa, ndakakunyorerai tsamba ruviri yamusina kupindura, asi hero basa taakutaura nemi pazvivhiti-vhiti kuratidza kuti pakati pedu hapana kuda kuteerera mumwe kana kuda kutaura nemumwe. Takakunyorerai tsamba vamutamba. Investigate the rogue officers. Respect the informal sector. Let us build Zimbabwe together. On our backs, do not hunt, do not plan to kill. But with our voices, build a better Zimbabwe. Allow us to have dignity and allow us to contribute to this nation meaningfully. We believe that leaders with ears would listen, but leaders with no direction will form adversary and plan to kill, to beat, to ruin. The demand is very clear. Regerai zvakashata kuvana veZimbabwe. We stand together and we move together. I thank you.
Menina, maisha kwera. Unoshanda on street.
Mobi?
Mu street na unomara kusebenji. Na Julius Nyerere. Saka basa rangu ndiri kutengesa kuita zveairtime. Inoorder airtime ndichitengesa. Nekuorder zvinenge zvichienderana nemasizini. Saka problem yandosangana nayo inini ndeyekuti mapurisa ndikasungwa inini ndifanira kutotonyora kuti ndikwanise kudzokera pabasa ndigone kuenda kumbane mari. Ndikatadza kubvisa mari yechioko muhomwe inodiwa, ndinototorerwa zvinhu zvangu zvotoendwa nazvo kupolisi, handikwanisi kuzvirikavha zvinhu zvangu izvozvo. Saka ndiri kuti havana imwe nzira here yavanogona kutibatsirawo nayo kuti tiite zviri fomawo zvokuti tinogona kuwana pekutengesera, even tichibhadhara taxi hatina problem nazvo, asi nzira yatinenge tichibatwa nayo inongotirwadza mazuva ese. Ndowe yatinogona kurarama nayo chete iyoyo. Ukatotya kusungwa ukoko haukwanisi kuuya mutauni kuti ushande ukwanise kuriritira mhuri yako. Ndozvega zvandingada kutaura. Ati nini zvinodhipenda netime. Pane imwe time vanotaura zvemaoperations, uchitoona shuwa kuti pane maoperation ekuti vanotora zvinhu vasingadzozi. Unokwanisa kubvisa kana $10 kana utorwa staff yako. Then patime yatongoziva kuti mupurisa anongobata $5 wodzorerwa zvinhu zvako. Anofamba neuniform, pane time anofamba asina uniform. Tozoita kuti mapurisa acho anenge sometimes vanokanzuro inouyawo, polisi ichiuyawo. Handikwanisi zvangu kuva-identifya because vakawanda. Asi vanhu vari kutozviita mazuva ese mumastreet zvokuti taura kwandiri kuita zvekutoitika pastreet. chandakaita asi pandakazoonawo organization ichitaura kuti iri against corruption ndopandakada muturona befu rangu ipapo ndokuzouya kwandaita kunoti nditaure and kuti ndive against policy yacho inini ndega ndakadai mutauni handikwanisi kupinda because ndendisingakwanisi kutengesa saka pandakatozonzwa kuti huri kuitwa namapurisa huri ndopandakatozoonawo kuti ai tine vanogona kutimirirawo.
Pandakaona inini video ichitenderera ndakaenda kumamembers angu tichida kutsvagudza kuti koimi naimi mavhenda ndiani ari kunorwisa chinhu chakanaka kudai chiri kuda kustopa checorruption. Takaona kuti vanhu ivavo haasi mavhenda. Regai ndikutaurirei pano ende put the record correct. Vanhu vakauya kuzodisrupta press conference yaSaibeth haasi mavhenda. Vamwewo vanhu vaibva kwavaibva, hurumende ndiyo ingatotiudza kuti vanhu ava ndevapi, haasi mavhenda. Vanhu vanga vane chinangwa chekuprotecta chakaipa. Mavhenda tiripo kurwisa chakaipa. Endesu chero munhu ari kungototaura zvekurwisa corruption tinayo. Muri kupanzwa muchinda uyu aenda mbiri mazuva ano yanonzi Geza. Paari kutorwisa corruption Geza, tiri kutoti Geza bayirira ipapo corruption yakashata. Muri kupanzwa ipapo. So Geza ari kurwisa corruption zvakatonaka zvakadaro zvakanakira Zimbabwe. Geza ari kuti corruption ngaipere. Corruption ngaipere. Geza ari kutaura zvakaipa. Muri kupanzwa ipapo. Ini ndinongotaura zviri kutaura zvakanaka zviri kutaura munhu. Akazoitawo zvakaipa, aiwa handimhanyi naye pane zvakaipa, but pane chakanaka ngatifambei nemunhu. Corruption yauraya nyika, corruption yakaipa, mavhenda asiyo akastopa kana kuda kukanganisa that press conference. Vanhu vaida kunyepera kuita mavhenda. Takavatarisa tikavatsvaga mafesi avo hatina mustreet. Haasi mavhenda, vakanga vangopfekawo mbatya dzedu. Unfortunately, to be as professional as ever, the first thing, we are going to revitalize the process. We are also going to remind them about this, engage and seek engagement formally by way of dialogue and discussion. But in the absence of dialogue and discussion, we've cited in our press statement today that if you don't hear us, you don't communicate with us, we will surely use all platforms to communicate to the nation. That includes protests, includes any form of communication that will make them hear or engage them. The beauty about us vendors, we believe that we are non-partisan, and our right to protest can never be obstructed and can never be refused, because we are dealing here with economic bread and butter issues. So tikatoda kuprotesta isisu tinongodzokera kuconstitution yenyika toti section aniko tikaona section 59 ichitendera kuprotesta, we will protest peacefully like always before. Like izvozvi toda kutokuudzai tida kutoita a very very quick protest yatichaita patown house, maybe in a week or two, with a very small group of people. We no longer want a municipal police officer. Anonzani uyo anodriver lori takuderedzesai bhuru. So tikuda kuti bhuru abviswe parod, achirega kuramba achide parod, akurowa vanhu, akutora vanhu zvinhu. So we want to do a protest specific for bhuru. So ZRP tikaenda ipapo tinoprotesta kuti bhuru ngaabviswe mustreet, bhuru ngaabviswe mustreet. Tikaona mapurisa eZRP achirowa vanhu achidispersa vanhu patown house, zvikureva kuti ZRP it's supporting corruption yabhuru, because surely kuti munhu akaipa abviswe musystem hapana chakaipa. And this protest iri kuuya very soon with a very small group of people, and this protest will be led by me. And then kana ndichilida protest handina chekutya, handityi, ndozvazviri. Because pakarira mabara epfuti enyika ino, pairira hondo yechimurengo, mabara ati nepfuti taidzinzwa. Saka hatina chatovhunduka, mboma hativhunduki. I think vanondiziva handivhunduke mboma. Saka inini pandiri kuenda kutown house, ndiri kuenda kutown house clearly kunoti bhuru aregere basa. bhuru ari kuita corruption at the highest level, ari kurova vanhu, and ndotoshamisa kuti meya weharare anongambachengeta munhu iye yechirudziro. To the mayor of Harare, this message is clear. Get this rogue element off the streets. Muchikuda bhuru here. This was bhuru ngabve pa street. Is toxic. Thank you.